Hello, Alla Svirinskaya. Welcome to Livsenergi.
Hello, Alexandra. Lovely to see you.
I've been really looking forward to meeting you because all the contact we've had, it's been such a pleasure. It's been a really nice flow of energy.
Thank you. Yes, all the same.
I actually told the translator of the book this morning that I was going to meet you online, and she was very excited, and she said, please say hi from me. So I
Oh,
will say hi from the translator.
thank you. Just please pass her the gratitude from me.
Yes, I will definitely. We really like your book, Own Your Energy.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
So, will you, Alla, I know that you are in London right now, aren't you?
Yes, yes,
Yes. But we can tell from your accent that you're not from London.
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background? Where are you from?
Yes, London is my home for more than 20 years, but my Russian accent is still strong. So I am from Moscow. That's where I was born. Actually, I was born in Soviet Union in 70s. So that's from where I'm from originally.
And you have a special gift that has passed on for several generations.
Yes. Yes, so for some unbeknown reasons to all of us, all women on my mother's side, well, for the 5 generations back, this is as far back as we could count, had a healing gift. So women who were born in our family possess that extrasensory ability to the energy.
In the book, you tell us a little bit about what it was like to have a healing gift in the Soviet Union. And, it's very interesting for us to hear because it's kind of old times meeting new times in the
Yeah.
modern day. So can you tell us, how was it for your mother and your grandmother to have this gift in the Soviet Union?
Well, I know for us it was quite challenging because probably many of you know that um, during the reign of Communist Party, this is what we had in Soviet Union, anything vaguely metaphysical was considered a threat to communist ideology, because what Communist Party was propagating is that only communist doctrines can lead people towards the light. Everything else, what is non-material, metaphysical, theosophical, spiritual, was considered as a threat, as something that you do not comply with official ideology, and hence many churches were destroyed after revolution during communist times. Many healers and parapsychologists, people who were studying energy or alternative modalities of healing, sometimes were jailed. So we were just really severely prosecuted. So back then, in my wildest dreams, I could not imagine that we would be able to practice healing openly. But Alexandra, it's like with many things in life, what in certain phase of your life you consider as a obstacle, later in life you actually, in retrospect, you think actually it was a blessing because it really served me. So now looking back, I really have the gratitude for having that experience, even though it was incredibly challenging for my mom and for me. But the way it served me, because my mother could not see patients openly, so she would work in oncology with cancer patients. So she was in medicine and orthodox medicine, but at home she would see a patient as a healer. So for me, as a little girl who had that awakening of that extrasensory abilities, to be able to observe the way my mother was healing, the way she was interacting with the patients. And in Soviet times, we did not live, we did not have big houses. We're all kind of in now kind of 2, 3, 1-bedroom flats. So you have that really close proximity to that alchemy of healing. So that for me was incredibly, incredibly valuable for my training. And that the one last thing I would like to mention about that, actually, which at my home, in our kitchen, it was always full of other healers, um, again, like parapsychologists, people who were interested in spirituality, always sitting around our table and drinking and eating and passing around all this kind of handwritten translations of the books, which people managed to, I don't know, bring from India, or I don't know, from I don't know,
Like
America.
smuggle.
Yes, exactly. So they're just people translating by hand. So this is how we had a chance to pass it and exchange that information. So, but that was done in kind of undercover, so to speak. It was very much, as I said, like in the kitchen. This is how people people managed to hold on to their tribe, still exchange ideas, still be with like-minded people. And again, also later in life, it really served me because it was such a incredibly valuable lesson in the formative years of my life, that doesn't matter how unfriendly and hostile environment is, you can still find the way to be authentic. You can still find the way to find your tribe, to find your people. So that's something which also served me hugely in life.
That's a very nice thing. It's a very nice insight. And it's the same for us today. I mean, in a lot of people who are interested in spirituality may not have that people around them so they can actually be authentic. But as you say, we can always find our tribe. We can always find our ways.
Exactly. But you know what, at the moment, especially now, it's so much easier because we have internet.
Yes.
Even if you don't, and I understand sometimes you can be in communities which are not particularly aware. You might, I mean, it's just part of my blessing, biggest part of my blessing, not just to be born with the gift, but also, of course, to be in an environment which harnessed that, did not suppress it. That's having my mother as my teacher, as my guide, to help me through that. And I appreciate a lot of people with this awakened sensitivity to energy. They might not have the same, and a lot of people think, oh, it's rubbish, or it's like, don't be silly, and they judge them, and they don't, the environment which does not support that. But that should never discourage you from going and find your people, to find a tribe, and not allow other people devaluing your ability or your interest, to undermine the worth of your need to express that gift and to find, as I said, to find your people. So as I said, with the internet now, especially, it's so much easier than what we had in Soviet Union in the 70s, which
Yes.
was much, much harder.
Yeah, of course. So, but looking at your background and your history a little bit from your family, both of your parents were in the scientific and medical field as well.
Mom is, yes, so medical. My dad, PhD in engineering, and so very much science, very scientific mind. But again, it's just, respect to my father, who always used to say, because he would observe what's happening. Of course, he was another one being in that kind of, in that hub of healing. And he always used to say, I cannot explain it scientifically, yet I cannot deny the fact that it exists. So unfortunately, a lot of people, when they cannot explain something, they choose to claim that it does not exist.
Yeah.
They choose to be blind for that because it's in cognitive dissonance with their way of thinking. So, as I said, I have a huge admiration for my father, who did not judge that, who did not devalue, diminish that, who said, yes, it exists, it has right to exist. Of course, it brings incredible benefit to people, but we just have to wait until science can explain, find that, more detailed explanation of that alchemy of healing, But as I said, we all know from school that Einstein described that his famous formula that matter and energy interchangeable. So we know now, scientifically proven, that energy and matter kind of influence one another, how much energy influence the matter, So there's a lot in quantum physics. There's already a lot of support for healing. But as I said, we just need to, hopefully science will bring us more understanding about, you know.
And we're so happy that societies actually more and more accept healing as a way of recover and get well-being.
Yes, you know, it's so true. It's changing dramatically the whole attitude towards the healing. You know, for me, when I came to 80s in 90s, when I, you know, came to London, and of course in London there was it was, you know, democracy. We didn't have communist party with their doctrines, but we have people who also with closed minds, who also did not resonate with healing. They were denying its existence. They were ridiculing me. That was incredibly challenging time for me then. But as you know, Alexandra, it's like any skepticism or majority of or cynicism, like any ism, is often rooted in prejudice.
Yeah.
So people form their opinion based on assumption, on prejudice. So, and I always say, I mean, for me, you know, that you learn about the subject first, experience it, and then form an informed opinion.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's kind of that mindset. So I said in Russia there was one type of challenge because of the political party, but in London in 90s it was because of the preconditioned of the mind. So it was quite challenging. But you're absolutely right. Slowly it's all changing, and personal energy management is no longer a niche pursuit.
No.
It changes. And you know, it was almost like anecdotal story. There was one of the big newspapers were doing a feature, or national newspapers were doing big feature about my healing. And it was like in 90s, and the picture editor calls me and said, "Oh, Dr. Alla, for photo shoot tomorrow, we would like you to wear kaftan and sandals." And I would say, "Oh, but I don't wear this kind of clothing." And there was this silence, and she said, "But how else our readers can see that you're spiritual?" So it was that perception of spirituality. So you have to be a hippie like. So they only think if you're spiritual, it means that you completely neglect earthiness of our experience, that material experience, that you have to be just a hippie who is you know, wearing kaftan sandals, don't wash your hair, and eating lentils all day long. So that was perverse and caricature-like perception of spirituality, and that changed dramatically. And I think with that attitude towards spirituality, the way spirituality now intertwining more and more in our lives, our awareness, and you know, mental health, we started to talk and much more than ever before. And I think what my wish, and I think I'm absolutely right, I think we're going to see more and more people talking not just about mental health, but also energy health.
Yes.
That's also incredibly important, you know, because mental energy is part of our general energy makeup. So that is, yes, so that's all becoming much more mainstream, and I'm incredibly, you know, I'm thrilled about that.
Yeah. The funny thing is that when you talk about how the acceptance of the increasing acceptance of healing and in the modern world, I think that your book is a very good witness to that, because it's first of all, Own Your Energy is talking to the reader in a way that it's about health.
Absolutely.
First and foremost, it's about health, and everyone wants to feel good. So it's easy to identify with the language that you use. You are talking about energy, energy,
probiotics,
pathogens.
No, but it's just I'm glad that you resonated with that, and that's what, you know, because again we tend to separate, and that's the reason why it's the reason why the healing becoming and healing and other modalities of alternative medicine were unobtainable for so many people, because majority of people, and I'm talking about, I don't know, people in London, that's my experience, but I worked around the globe. I worked in LA, in New York, in Hong Kong. So I kind of internationally, there was this thing about that, again, you have to be on a spiritual path. You have to be, again, just completely neglect your material life in order to then go into meditate or experience healing. And it's something completely very remote from your healthcare, from your health. And what I'm trying to demonstrate to people, that actually it's all part of health, and it's all part of, we just need to broaden our understanding of the concepts, what health is. So it's almost like I'm not introducing anything. I mean, I'm introducing new ideas, but the vessel, the structure, it's the same. We just need to broaden it. So health, what is health? Majority of people think health is an absence of symptoms. So but health is not just absence of symptoms. Health is also preventative, actually prophylactics. Health is also agility and resilience. Health is also happiness. So you cannot just having that very narrow and limited understanding what health is. And also I always say health, and this is one of the reasons why I've written this book, health is also about us taking ownership of our health. And Alexandra, often not often, all the time, my patients and new patients, when I see them, one of the first thing I tell them, it's 3 of us. We have to be a team. It's 3 of us. You, your problem, and me.
Oh.
And you have to form with me partnership. You don't come to me to buy energy. You don't come to me to buy health. That's the most delusional concepts, exists, that you can buy anything like that. You can't. And you might buy quick fix from someone, but the outcome, the results will be short-lived. So I always say, it's a process, and you need to be an equal partner of mine. So we have to work. So again, people need to take responsibility and ownership of their health and of their energy. And that's when you see the most incredible results.
Yeah. So you are born with this gift. Do you think that the healing gift is accessible to everyone?
Well, I do, absolutely. I think everybody has this ability. It's nothing, maybe in my situation it's a bit amplified. And again, the combination, the fact that I had a teacher next to me all the time.
Yeah.
So of course, somebody who can guide me to understand. And another thing, what is incredibly important for people to understand, healer is also, first of all, even before my mother taught me how to heal, it's all about also how to be the best channel. Mm-hmm. How to be the best channel for healing, how to be that vessel, that pure vessel, where it's not Allah who heals. I become that channel who enables that energy of light to come through me. This is important. My ego does not heal. So of course, part of the training is to attune my soul, and I had that since I was a little girl, to that frequency of compassion, love, no judgment, authenticity. So you need to resonate on that frequency first. And then you branch it more, and then how do you apply yourself as a channel, and how, for example, you can heal. But I don't think I'm kind of anatomically different for everybody else. As I said, it's all been cultivated and harnessed. And that's why also my message to everyone is to it's like just like another sense of ours. It just needs to be, we need to honor that we have that sense, and find the tools to the way to fine tune it, to understand how to listen to it, because it has its own kind of language, its own vibrations, its own sensitivity. So it's a ways which we can all develop. Absolutely.
I went to a Reiki healing a course a couple of years back, actually, and I had the most fantastic experience. And after that, I actually didn't believe I would find anything useful from that course, because I was just. And then in the end, I had some of the most spiritual experiences. But I also realized that Reiki is just one tool. So you are born with this gift. We've talked about that, but what is your specialty in the healing world? I mean, there are so many strings that you can develop.
Specialty, specialty, I think, belongs to Orthodox medicine, and that's, I think, that's one of the faults of Orthodox medicine. As much as I respect it, I always tell it's all about, because I went to medical school when I couldn't believe that I could practice healing openly. I went to medical school. Again, it's not something I wanted to, I really wanted to be a healer, but I couldn't imagine that I ever will be able to practice it. But in a way, it gave me very balanced perspective on health. And I grew to honor both modalities. But where I see the fault of Orthodox medicine, it's fragmented and it's incredibly narrow specialized. And when you look at something at such a narrow focus, you lose touch with a bigger picture. Mm-hmm. And we are not fragmented, beings. It's all incredibly holistic. So I think me specializing on anything in particular will be very counterintuitive to what I'm teaching. Because again, if you're just going back to everything stems from my approach, stems from my understanding of our holistic anatomy. So, I actually, many healers, and I'm sure you heard that when they talk about aura, they talk about aura resembling layers of the onion. Yeah. So each layer, or it's a current of energy really, but we loosely call it layer, but responsible for physical energy, emotional, mental, and more spiritual realms. I mean, as a healer, I always say that we are like matryoshka dolls, much more glamorous comparison than the onion. So I would rather, so we have one energy, energy current, on top of another, so we have this. And what people need to understand, that the smallest part of that, of our being, is actually our physical body. Our physical body is also, so let me show you. So our physical body is this, the outlines of our energy is so much bigger. Yeah. So our physical body, and this is crucial for the understanding, they are, it's a physical, it's a denser energy. But then everything else, mental, emotional, and spiritual, part of us. So of course, if we look at our holistic anatomy from that prism, then approach in healing has to encompass all these areas. So that's why it's impossible to specialize, and nor do I ever want to.
So if I should visualize my whole body, including my energy body, how far out am I?
Well, that depends on you. It depends on you. And, this is actually very, very kind of good question, because it's a very important question. And this is the question that often people ask me after the first treatment. So people come, and in the very competitive kind of, I don't know, intent, they say, oh, and how's my energy size compared to others?
Oh.
So they kind of, it's not, I know it's not the context you asked me, but this is something I always ask, but you just kind of reminded me that. Mm-hmm. Because our, what I always say that, for this kind of answer to my patients, for me, the energy of other person cannot be taken as a point of reference. We all have our unique template, blueprint of energy outline. So hence, I don't know what's yours. So when I work with my patients, I tap into two states. the state of your energy blueprint is almost your energy DNA, the way the size of your aura is. It's the same as our height. It varies from person to person. So what's your blueprint? And then I tap into the state of reality. How is your energy field expressed at the moment? Mm-hmm. So only your energy blueprint is my point of reference, not the auric field of Mr. Smith or Mrs. Black or something. So that's my point. And I always say, just forget about perfection, choose authenticity. Yeah. That's where I think it's so important to reclaim our space. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, unfortunately, due to the lifestyle, the way they process their emotions, for many reasons, when they don't know how to own their energy, the auric field changes shapes, and it becomes very different to what your true expression of energy should be like. And that's, again, it's just another reason why I want people to learn how to own their energy, so they can reclaim their space, they can reclaim their true size.
Yeah. We actually translated the title directly because it's so good. Because it's such a statement. Mm. And how do you say in English, where you are encouraging people to do something?
Yes, absolutely. But this, for me, the title is a call for action.
Yes, exactly. That's what I meant.
Action. Yes. So that, and I say, own your energy. This is what this is what's so incredibly important. Life is too short for us because if you don't own your energy, your own energy will be owned by somebody else. You only can be a master in life of your health if you own your energy. If you don't, you will be owned by the label of your diagnosis, the judgment by other people, expectations by others. So it will be something of somebody else or something else, or circumstance. You'll be like owned by circumstance. When you're owned by circumstance, you become overwhelmed, possessed by that. So that's why it's so incredibly important. And I'm incredibly happy about the timing that the book will be released in Sweden. Timing could not be better. And I hope you'll agree with me. I think what this lockdown experience demonstrated, that human energy exchange is the most precious currency of all. Is the most valuable currency of all, and it's on a global scale, unprecedented way. People realized how incredibly important it is. And we also realized that and I can sense it so strongly and so vividly, to how interconnected we all are. We are all connected, and we are all part of that big kind of organism. And there's no separation. We are interconnected. And that's what's the kind of premises of the book. How we are connected energetically. However, what also so important to remember and to realize for our health and our wellness, yes, we should all be open and connected while still maintaining our authenticity. Yeah. While still protecting our borders. So being open does not mean non-discerning. No. And that's why I think that's when world is so ripe for this book, the ideas, I think more than even like a year ago. So that's why, and we entered completely new era of disruption. This is the time when we don't know what's around the corner. It's just unpredictable, so, but we need to find a way how to still thrive in unpredictable, how to still own our energy rather than being owned by the circumstance.
Yes, that's very true. I was thinking, I read an article It's quite old. You actually sent it to me.
Yes.
In that article, you talk about the first and most important principle is actually to take care of your energy health, first of all, instead of talking about your physical health. Can you, I mean, and with your medical background, and with your energy background and history, can you just explain a little bit more to us?
Right, yes. So I actually, it's a bit worrying if that article, because of course that article been printed in Swedish, and I could not sure that if translation was correct from what I'm saying, because I just want to emphasize, I never ask people to choose or to prioritize one over another. So equally important. So I would not say that taking care of your physical health is not important. It is just as important, but we need to look at our physical health in a context, as it's one of the layers of our being. So we always have to look after our wellness and health in a simultaneously looking after physical health and energy health. And that's why actually also I have so many referrals from consultants, from doctors, and that's why I kind of earned respect from traditional orthodox medical establishment in UK, because I don't see my healing as something, as a position. I see it as complementary. It's all complementary, intertwined. So what I'm always saying to people, of course, as a healer, what I know and what is evidential, that healing, evidential from the success of my practice, and success of my practice did not come from me, I don't know, being famous influencer online, and then you become famous healer. I did, I created my practice before internet, where you only can talk and to demonstrate the results of your work through the actual results. So it was undeniable that healing, the power of healing. So naturally, from what I see and everybody sees, that our aura is as a healer, I believe that energy is a matrix of our being, and our aura is the organ of transformation. It's organ of our transformation. So when we have to kind of honor it as such. So of course, first of all, I believe that when we embark on anything we want to manifest in our life, happiness, I don't know, a new job, health, you create energetical template for this. You create the energy, and then everything else follows with that. So what I probably, in that article, probably what I was referring to is that we need to make sure when we take care of our health, that simultaneously we have to take care of our energy balance and our energy health as well.
Yeah. Don't you think that it's many times something that people don't even think about? They don't perhaps even believe it exists.
Well, yeah, absolutely, of course. But as I always say, try it. You do. Now more and more people actually realize that with the old ways of living, we have so much. And even now we have so many yoga studios and so many meditation studios. We have so much supplements. Everything is available. Yet there's massive, it's an epidemic of energy deficit and energy poverty throughout the world. And unfortunately, you see it getting worse and worse in the most prosperous of countries. So we can be financially rich, but energetically incredibly poor.
Yeah.
So people started on a visceral level to understand that something is wrong. There's something, what they've been doing, just tackling things with, even just by taking supplements or just exercise, it's not enough. We need to, again, broaden our understanding what forces are animating us, what actually drives our wellness. And for many centuries, there was this kind of opposing school of thoughts between vitalists and mechanists. So mechanists said that humans are just machines, and we are powered by biochemistry, and our soul and spirit is just a product of thermodynamics. But vitalists always said that no, we actually divine beings, and we are kind of animated by divine spirit. And what I believe, that we are both. Yes, we are the most fascinating masterpiece of engineering and mechanics and biochemistry, absolutely. But I refuse to believe that our soul is just a product of thermodynamics. I think we also have this incredible, we are divine vessels for the primal energy forces which animate our spirit. So that's why we need to embrace both and address our health from both. But if you asking me about question, many people don't believe, it's actually quite interesting. If you ask, you can ask somebody, okay, do you believe in energy, or do you think, oh, no, I cannot sense energy, I don't know. But if you ask the same person, how was that event for you? Let's say they went to the museum or they went to the amusement park, and you ask, how was that event? Was it uplifting or was it depleting? And the person will know exactly how to answer it. Somehow inside, they still know how to tap into that feeling if something is draining you or something energizes you.
Yeah.
So many people who say they don't believe in energy, but at the same time, in their vocabulary, they say, oh, this person has a beautiful aura, or we have a chemistry.
Yes.
Or I don't know if in Swedish you have similar expression. In English, they say when you walk to the room where people just had an argument, you can cut the air with the knife.
Yes.
So the energy feels so dense. But so we viscerally know how it feels, but a lot of people don't know quite how to interpret that. So, and again, hopefully with my books, I'm giving people tools how to appreciate their senses and that sense, and how to understand the language of it, and how to master it, and again, use for internal and external benefit for the community, for the world around us. So yes, that's.
So it's about taking care of your health, your energy health, and understand actually how to interact with it, because with all the terminology you use, I mean, you talk about aura prophylactics, right? You talk about energy pathogens.
Pathogens, yes.
Virus, fungi, and or probiotics. So all these things, if we are interested in health, we know what this is already, but you explain it in a very good way so we understand it in relation to our energy, which all of a sudden it becomes tangible.
Yes.
I think we need tangible in order to realize that this is important. We can work, we can do this.
Oh, I'm so glad you're saying that. Well, that's because I think it was Wayne Dyer who said that he was asking a patient saying, how old are you? Are you 70 years old, or you had 1 year 70 times? And that's what I see in my practice often when people come to me. They've done a lot of things, but they don't go deep enough, because again, you can go to therapists, but if you don't have adequate tools of understanding what forces are affecting you, what infecting you, or how you contaminate your own energy, you will sabotage. And what struck me, and again, that's come from my training in medicine, that the mistakes we're making is very similar mistakes our ancestors did. So in other words, just not long time ago, only a couple of centuries ago, we discovered, about the whole idea of the pathogens and microbes. But until then, so people, let's say, have diarrhea, and they will take cures for diarrhea, but then they go and drink water from the river, or eat rotten food, because there was no correlation. So they will have a cure, but then they will go into sabotaging that cure, sabotage, and then they will go back to being unwell again. And that was this perpetual cycle. And also until, it's extraordinary. Only at the end of 19th century, there was a correlation between the pathogens are causing a disease. Until then, widely spread, there was this theory about miasma theory, that it's a bad air which causes disease. That's why you look at many hospitals, they have old hospitals, they have like wide balconies, and that's so the fresh air. So that whole understanding of, so people were tackling doctors were tackling bad air, rather than actually looking after the cause of that bad air. So what I realized in holistic healing, we're making the same mistake. We are just masking the order of imbalance, but we don't go deeper enough to really address what is really infecting our energy space. So that's what I just thought, and what I want, and that's what my practice is renowned for sustainable result. Sustainability in general is something very close to my heart. And I want to see sustainability in everything, and especially in our wellness. I don't want people to be just well, like when you have a burst of wellness, I don't know, you're on holiday, well, and then for the rest of the months, you are just surviving. So exactly. So I want to make sure that so people sustain that wellness. And therefore, we need to know clearly what sabotages our well-being. And as you mentioned, yes, I talk about energy pathogens, because what struck me as a healer of 30 years experience, and I'm a hands-on practitioner, I'm not somebody who just writes clever books or studies something academically. I'm a practitioner every day for so many years. I've been hands-on treating patients. So my books are written from my practical evidence. So, and that is so important, because I know what works, what doesn't.
Yes.
And that I want, because, as you know, that my practice is, I have 7 months waiting list. I cannot, and probably after lockdown, this will be even more. I cannot physically see everybody in need as much as I would love to, but it is my duty, and especially so at this time, to bring my methods outside of exclusivity of my practice, and to help as many people as possible with proactive steps, not just ideas. I mean, there were concepts. Of course, I'm sharing my concepts. It's very important to grasp the concept, why we're doing this. But first of all, I want people to have, and you saw in my book, there's so many proactive techniques. I mean, the whole toolbox is there. So, but yes, just to answer your questions, I know it's a very kind of big answer I'm giving you, but it is something I feel very, very strongly about. And I just think that people need to, again, just to broaden their understanding what pathogens are, and not every pathogen is organic. There's also pathogens which are energetic.
Yes, very good. So we will learn a lot about our energy from the book, and we will also learn how to keep it safe, how to strengthen our aura, immune system, and a lot more exciting stuff.
Yeah, well, yes, that's, again, it's just how to protect yourself, how to be better immune. And even if your energy is better immune, if you understand what affects your protection, what does it mean to be protected, then it also will help you to strengthen your immune system on organic level as well. But again, it's all about being empowered. And first of all, as you know, that when I talk about, for example, in a chapter about auric fungi, I talk about fungus, not in the context of how I normally talk about fungus, but really fungi is treating normally in medicine, in physiology, fungus treats us as its host. But energy of other people, like we call energy vampires, they can treat our aura as the source of energy. Yeah. So I described this, there's a big chapter dedicated to energy vampires, because again, I talk about hygiene. Again, talking about hygiene, not in a way that we normally talk about brushing our teeth and taking shower every day and washing our hair, So I'm talking about hygiene, that we need to be also have a clean energy, or to be clean and to function at our optimum. So it's very important. The hygiene of our interpersonal connections is incredibly important.
Do you have do you have any like quick fixes or tips to keep our energy clean?
Well, first of all, you know, there's a when Michelangelo was asked about his famous masterpiece, he said the following. He said, "David was always there in the marble. I just took away what's not him." And I think the first thing for us is to start releasing what clutters us, what does not resonate with our truth. So we need to review about, does that choice, does that connection really, you know, am I in resonance with it? You know, what's so vital for us to understand that our energy field is not just a static field. It breathes, it's in emotion, it has particular distinct pulse. And that's why in my book I talk about the concept of energy ID, which is individual to every person, and there's a techniques how you figure out what your energy ID is. So you match your life, your choices according to your energy ID. So what I am saying, and you know, I think many of us and everybody, you know, I think everybody who's going to be listening to this interview know that sometimes we meet another person and you don't even know why, but you say, ah, that's my person, we're on the same wavelengths. Again, in Swedish, I don't know if you have similar expression. In English, oh, we're on the same wavelengths. And it's extraordinary how correctly we describe that feeling, because when you meet people whose energy in a similar frequency to ours, we feel that we are on the same wavelengths, because we are. So what if you asking me about what's important, that when you walk around your house, your flat, or if you look at your address book and just see about what gives you that, that's home, that's mine, it resonates. And if it doesn't, or release it or redress the boundary. That's number one thing I would say, you know.
And be honest about that. It's a difficult job.
It is, but it's much worse to live your life when you do not belong to yourself. It's like it's not easy, but you know, when you have that awareness, it becomes, again, it's just, we're not saying, oh, it's just such a bore to brush our teeth every day. Oh, it's like, you know, we have to take a shower every day and clean out, you know, I don't know, flat. It might be like, but it's a part of our, you know, it's something we have to do. It's a necessity. It's not an optional extra, because another option is you don't live your life. You cannot, because if you're not authentic, it's very difficult to, first of all, to be healthy, to be well, to have that wellness, to serve your purpose. And you know what, also in a book, I don't know if you picked up on that, I also feel strongly about that. In years, what we're noticing, that attitude towards spirituality, even like when I do energy work, it's very consumption based. So everything is about, you know, ask and it's given, you know, you consume energy, everything is about for me. And what I'm saying, that in order to express our energy, in order to really to multiply our light, to amplify that, in order for our energy to be healthy, it's important for our chakras, for our energy centers, not just focus on the consumption of energy, but it's equally important, how do we apply that energy in a real world. Because, you know, I don't know if it's the same in Sweden, but I observe often happening here, that when people start looking after their energy, that kind of spiritual snobbery kicks in. So it's they all kind of, everybody's high vibing, it's all high, it's so kind of, everything has to be positive, everything has to be kind of not of this realm. And what I'm saying to people, just embrace this earthness of this life. You have to be integrated in this life, and see how you can make this life better. You know, I don't know who said that, but it's not my comparison. The saying that we have to learn from the tree. The further, the higher up the branches of the tree go, the more tree invests into its roots.
Yeah.
So when every vibration, every spectrum of vibrations is important for us. So denser and more lighter, spiritual and maybe material less so. So they're all important. So I think it's incredibly important, because we have to be focusing on community and how we can contribute to the world. So for expression of our energy, it's important. It's not good enough just to meditate on your heart chakra and awaken love and burn all these fancy candles and then go outside of the meditation studio and then start in a changing room gossiping and swearing and doing this. It doesn't work. So we have to apply that heart chakra energy into the real world. You know, so that's, and I think this is the time, yes, staying in a comfort zone of what we know, of how we knew what we known before might be easier, but we see how it's affecting us. We're not becoming happier. We're not becoming more energized. So yes, I'm afraid, and I'm not apologetic about this, that every, you know, as you know, as I said in my book, we have to challenge our borders of our comfort zone. We need to venture out and embrace a different ways, not different, but adding, just optimizing our tools.
Yeah, it's not only to take care of your own energy and be well in your physical and your energy body. So what you're saying is we have to actually live that also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's paramount, and world is calling for that. Again, we cannot just go and say all these clever words about want world to be a better place and kind, and we can make all the slogans, but it becomes just words, you know. So and what is you know, again, you'll see that, you know, in the book when I was writing, and you know, the chapter what I mentioned earlier about vampires. And I said, and first in the beginning of the chapter, what I said, the reason why I wrote about the vampires, not for you immediately start dividing, looking at your social circles and dividing people on good cops, bad cops, and you know. So the first of all, why I'm describing different types of energy vampirism, so you can analyze yourself when you are that energy vampire. And as you know, in the book, I'm giving tools what to do if you catch yourself that you're becoming that energy greedy and person acting as an energy vampire. And what people need to remember, that universe does not respond to our words. It does not match energy of words. It matches the energy of our state. And let me explain what I mean by that. So for example, if you're asking universe for universal energy for more health or for wellness, and say, you know, please, I want to be more healthy, and you're very much in tune with your pain, or you're asking for more money and you just in tune with your deficit, that you don't have enough money to pay bills and this, universe will give you more. The vibrations you're actually attracting is of deficit, of the energy poverty.
Because that's stronger?
Because that's the state you're in. This is what you're broadcasting. This is what you're broadcasting to the universe. So before you start asking and wanted to attract something, that's why gratitude, and then, you know, you mentioned about aura probiotics, and I talk about aura probiotics. And the reason why I talked about aura probiotics, because I'm so anti quick fixes. It's not about us sometimes get connected to the positive vibrations. I want to make sure that positive vibrations are able to thrive within us. How do we anchor that, colonize that good vibrations within us? So that's why I talked about aura probiotics. And one of the important part of that formula, and I'm giving formula there for that, but one of the components of that formula is gratitude.
Yeah.
So you always, whatever you would, if you want to attract more, if you want to attract different, if you want to amplify something, always start with state of appreciation. Yeah. So connect to what you have, to what you value, and ask for amplification. So rather than coming from the place of lack, because deficit will attract more deficit. So that's why if you want to attract more, if you want to attract different, if you want to attract abundance, you start with gratitude, with appreciation first.
That's a good point. So I'm gonna just look through my little notes here for a short while. Can we talk a little bit about your practice in London? Because there are many articles written about the celebrity healer. You've become a success, and you have a long waiting list of people who want to come to you. What has brought this on you? Like, what is so special? Why are they queuing in line in months to come to you?
Well, results. I don't, so people that's, again, it was not like this when I just started my practice. It was just patient after patient, so, but it's results. Nobody would listen to me. So in order for people to listen to me, they had to see results. Mm-hmm. And it was very peculiar situation. And I remember that was even when my practice became well known and people were talking, the word started to spread, and people could, it was just undeniable the impact my healing has on people. Editors, when journalists would come to see me and they would want to write about my work, editors would not publish that because they said that advertisers are threatening to pull their ads out from the magazines because they didn't want to be featured next to the article about the healer. So it was that kind of prejudice. So the first editor who stood by my side was from Harper's and Quinn, who said, yes, people must, I understand that I might have problem with my advertisers, but people must know about that. And that was the first magazine. And at that time, it was so revolutionary. I mean, of course, now you open any magazine, they talk about yoga, healing, crystals, you name it. But only 25 years ago, there was just, it was very brave of the one of, this glossy magazine editor to say, no, I'm going to stand by your side. So, but I guess results, and I think what also appealed to a lot of people, that of course, because I'm very discreet, I'm very pragmatic, and with all the respect I have for people's titles, as you know, my first book, Energy Secret, was forwarded by the Duchess of York. I have respect for titles. I have respect for people's job titles and for their money and for whatever else they achieve. But that stays behind the doors of my practice. So I think people really like the fact that they think my practice is so authentic. So they have that kind of tete-a-tete with their soul. So they kind of, really get that from my practice. And again, because they know that I'm somebody who does not, I said, I did not never position myself that in order to follow my healing, you have to really check out from the material world, that you have to be on some kind of special spiritual path. I'm keeping it very grounded and very anchored in results. And again, also what people like as well, that they do not need to believe in the healing in order for this to work. So that, as I said, they need to cooperate with me, they need to follow my recommendations, they need to take responsibility, but it's not based on their faith. It's not a spiritual healing based on particular faith. So I think the combination of all of that, I think, brought the kind of renown to my practice. And and it's very dear. I'm very humbled by that. It's something I am very honored to look after so many special people, and now also looking after families. Like you treat people, then they get married, and then after their children and grandchildren. So you understanding is like I can give the best care to my patients that way. But also I forgot what I want to say. But anyway, so this is kind of no. But what often people say to me. Also, like, yes, a lot of celebrities come to see me, and but what for me is incredibly humbling, and it's great, but the fact that experts in energy, like Buddhist monks or energy practice, are choosing me as their healer, me is incredible honor, because this is the people also who understand about energy, appreciate, they have such sophisticated understanding of the energy forces. And the fact that, as I said, I'm so humbled about is that people experts in energy healing are choosing me as their energy healers.
And that's why I wanted to talk to you about this, because it's not about you being the celebrity healer. It's about understanding that people realize that this works. People know that they need it. And if we have celebrities who do this, who realize this, that will have an ambassador effect on the rest of the world. Even though we can hope that it's enough with me and for you and the rest of my family, but it's not. We need those people who are in the front line to get the message out.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, no, yes, I understand exactly what you're saying, but no, I never use, it was my conscious decision, and I never use the name of celebrity clients.
No, not you, but they know that this work.
Yes, absolutely. But it's yes. But I think for me is luckily the way it worked is just, so it was not a celebrity in the who were talking about my healing. In fact, many are choosing to keep it as their kind of secret jewel, So, but this is, as I said, it's just kind of, it's a continuum of results. My practice, again, this is something I'm incredibly proud about, that for 25 years, my practice stayed at the top of healing practice in this country, and some saying in the world, so that to me, but again, it's only sustainable when you are consistent with your results and for dedication. And this is something, but again, I do not want my methods to be just exclusive for or elitist, I would speak. It can be exclusive to me, but it's not elitist. And this is something I don't want to be, so, and that's why, again, and I'm so grateful for you for bringing my book to Swedish readers, because it just, it helps me to help so many more people. And you know what, also why I'm delighted that my first book, Energy Secrets, has been translated to 17 or 16 languages, All New Energies, finding lives in so many different languages now already. In the book, what I say, that meditations and affirmations have much stronger resonance with with our energy field if they are said in the language of your formative years. So, and I know a majority of Swedish people are incredibly good with languages, and of course English, the way people speak English, and it's great. But what really registered so much stronger when you say it in the language with which your mother, your primal caregiver, spoke to you. So the fact that this book will exist in Swedish and people can read it in their native language, that will have a much stronger resonance to people than if they would have read it in English. So thank you for that. I'm grateful.
Yeah, and that's our specialty. If we're to talk about the specialties, that's our specialty, to pick those books from other parts of the world and bring them home to Sweden in the Swedish language.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, we're the biggest publisher of this kind of books in Sweden, because it's a little bit deeper than the mass market books. And that's our specialty. And we have this fantastic audience of book club members who love us because of it, because they will not be able to get these books anywhere else.
Oh, that's amazing. Gosh, that's, I mean, the way you serve the community in that way. Funny. And, you know, I'm so, again, like, I'm so grateful that my book resonated with you and that you picked that, because exactly that was my intent, because I do not selling a soothers or writing soothers like a spiritual band-aids for people. Maybe it's even like more lucrative or more alluring for people because you sell some kind of fairy tale to people, and that kind of sells well. But this is something what I wanted to achieve with all of my books, that these books are not soothers. It's not just for the moment make you a little bit, gives you illusion that you are kind of well. It gives you not hope. It gives you not just hope. It's not hope, probably not the word. It gives you vision and the direction where direction for the future where you thrive and really discover that meaning of wellness. And also shows you how to get there. So it is have much deeper approach, and for people who really want to embrace that process and who really want sustainable results, who don't want to be on this carousel, as I mentioned earlier, about wellness, sabotage, and imbalance. So people who want to step away from that forever perpetual carousel. Mm-hmm.
But you have to decide. It's a decision you have to make too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like you said, it's you, the problem, and the person.
Yes, exactly. So at the same, so absolutely, it's a commitment. But what I'm saying as a practitioner, again, from so many years of experience, from what I know, that unless you commit to the process, because well-being is a dynamic thing. It's not like you just achieved health, achieve wellness, and that's it. It's a dynamic process, and it's a lifelong process. And that's what we understand. And unless you become a master of your energy, unless you really own it and holding, you would not, you will be like a cork in the sea, and you'll be again a victim of the circumstances. And as I said earlier, I think it's just at the moment, the world is in such state, and is such a kind of entered such a new era. And in order for us, for humans, for beings to really survive in a very humane way, that we need to really protect our human energy field and allow that to thrive. And so we can make the best choices, and our intuition is so incredibly crucial for us. When we don't know how to go forward, when we don't know how to handle anything, when we have no point of reference to how to, I don't know, for the map, for the future, this is the time when our instincts are most crucial for us.
Yeah.
But again, if you don't know how to listen to your true voice, to your instincts, you do not, you just get lost. Again, with the book, it teaches you how to take care of your intuition, and how to understand, again, like what your energy ID is, what is your true authentic voice, and to use that as the compass for your choices. And again, this is the timing what's so incredibly important. But you're absolutely right. This is the personal choice. You have to want, you need to commit.
I just had a very fun, or maybe not fun at all, connection to, in the last year, we have been educated on how to wash our hands, down to the elbow, and every day, and for 30 seconds, and everywhere, all around the world, people are probably washing their hands in a different way today than they were a year and a half ago. So this is the new hygiene method that we will learn, of owning your energy, because it's just about deciding and actually doing it.
You are so right. But you see, the reason why we stick to that, because we understand with the help of scientists why it is important. So they explain to us about the COVID, how it affects us, and why we need to. So we understand why, and we're doing this because there's a correlation. But exactly, so this is you're so right. So it's also, I'm explaining to people why, explaining people about pathogens, how it's affecting us, and exactly. So it's and you have different types of personal protection, like what we call PPE, but personal protection equipment. But I'm giving that kind of tools, techniques, which are, as I said, practically proven to protect your, safeguard your energy field, and in turn to protect your physical health as well. So, and also actually maximize the effect of, and that's, I've seen so many proof so many times in my practice, that it also maximizes the effect of the medicine you're taking, the way your body responds to medicine. So that's something also incredibly, and especially in the context of now, like for our immunity and this. So it gives us better resilience of our spirit, so which is vital.
Yeah. Do you practice on a distance as well?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't. No, I'm
in the room.
As my daughter says, my always says, "Mama, you're so last century." I'm very much, I'm very much, healing. I need that for the quality. I don't want to compromise the quality of my offering. So I'm protecting the quality and the quality of my offering only one-to-one in-person type of healing. Yeah. But as I said, the way in the past year, because my practice, I could not keep my practice open. So the way I found a way to serve my community, and because I think as a light worker, it is my duty again to empower, to share people. And I mean, I don't know if you've had it in Sweden, but in UK, when the pandemic started, I mean, even now, but less so, there was so much anxiety, so much fear. And of course, energetically, when you're anxious, when you're fearful, it makes you energetically submissive to the external influences. So you already by default become weaker and more kind of open to energy abuse. So, and talking of energy abuse, all the time listening to the negative news. People were listening to news 24/7. That energetically also was like just assault of the negative information all the time. So I felt that it was my duty to educate people and to empower, so giving a lot of tools. So I've been doing a lot more. I discovered what Zoom is. I'm doing a lot of, but to work. So I guide and I share my practice, my techniques and methods. But in order to heal the way I heal for the conditions, it has to be in person. So my books, I always say, I view my books as a form of distant healing. So yes. That kind of, it is form of distant healing because it's so
definitely, definitely. So we are about to finish off our fantastic meeting here, but I wanted to talk to you about, do you have a life motto? We always ask that.
Life motto. No.
What rule do you live by?
What for me is incredibly important is what I said to you earlier about appreciation for what I've got. Yeah. That for me, and this is something is hugely important to my heart. There's actually two things, which is, you see, for me, my motto is not verbal. My motto is that particular energy state, which is my point of reference. So I always align myself with that energy state. So I'm afraid my motto is vibrational, not verbal. But
that suits you very well.
But that's kind of, so that's and what my mother always said, just do not believe in obstacles. And that's, if you look at my mom, she's 81, never done any fillers, like no cosmetic surgery. She's radiant, she's beautiful, embraced her gray hair, has a very trendy haircut, but she is living in proof that energy work, the power of energy work, and that energy work what gives us ageless radiance and what makes us actually ageless. So for me is, as I said, is that inner state of not believing in obstacles and gratitude and appreciation. That's is incredibly important. And if I may, the last thing I want to mention, that again, just thinking about my motto was relevant. What I'm incredibly passionate about is to tell people that we should not divide our life between being well when we're taking care of ourselves and when we are abusing ourselves, when we're detoxing, when we're detoxing. So a lot of us, we have life of different polarities. So we do one or another. So what I'm encouraging, and this is the rule I live by, if you ask me, about my self-care, and I remember you, that kind of question was interesting, is that we need to counterbalance all the time, not allowing ourselves to abuse ourselves to that extent that our body shouts at us through disease, through mental health problems. So we need to learn how to listen to the body's whispers. So we don't hear the way it shouts at us. So, and all the time have techniques. And again, that's why I provide in my books my tools for self-regulation. So immediately when you feel out of balance, even a little bit, you immediately counterbalance that. So you in that kind of constant dialogue between yourself and your energy and your body. So
you have to be attentive.
So that's kind of be attentive and to really listen to that dialogue and not to suppress that. So constant, like continuous counterbalancing. That's my motto as well. That just making sure that I am always attentive to the whispers.
That's some kind of art, I think. You have to be in balance, but that's also your specialty.
Absolutely, balance, but it should be all of our specialty of all of us. Balance, that's the, because we all of this, that's why I said, I don't believe about the just having high vibrations. We need full spectrum. I don't want people to feel positive all the time. It's negative emotions equally as important, but it's all about balance and a flow. But it's an art, absolutely, but it's an art we all can master.
It's so funny because I have noticed as my children are, my oldest one is soon coming 17. Wow. So during the years they grew up, my spiritual practice and my spiritual beliefs have grown, increased or strengthened, so to say. But I cannot ask for them to believe in what I believe. But I have noticed that what I'm telling them is that the world is always striving for balance. So you should always strive for balance in your life. Doesn't matter what it's about. If it's about grades or if it's about what you eat and don't eat and whatever, if it's exercise or whatever it can be. And that's my way of, if they get that, if they only get that with them in life, at least that's something good.
Well, absolutely. But after all, also, as you know, and I know as a mother myself, and my daughter is almost 20, that it's not about what we're telling them. They pick up this energy cues. And actually one thing which I think is, I would love for more and more people to hear this, that we might be pregnant with our children biologically for 9 months, but we are pregnant with their spirit for 10 years. And it's, when I say we, is meaning father and mother. So we all, and actually mothers are in the same energy bubble aura with their child until they're 9 or 10 years of age. So the state of your energy as a mother, as a parent, immediately have a repercussion on your child. It's not about even like what you're saying. It's about this non-verbal, energetical, vibrational cues. So if your energy more attuned to high vibrations, to the happiness, unconditional love, to this to this kind of, if those states are your kind of default states,
Yeah.
you're striving towards,
Mm.
as a ripple effect, your children will be based in that for during their formative years. And of course, they can go through teenage years and they can say, like, mama, you, whatever. They can go through the, rejecting everything what you say. But actually, that's a phase. But once they pass that, what stays with them, what they absorb, the energy they absorbed from you during those formative times. And if now you also mentioned about, of course, saying about balance, exactly that, helping them to form healthy attitude in life. That's what you said, that message is beautiful about exactly that it's natural. Balance is it's a nature's default state.
Yeah.
And we just need to always be in synergy with nature
And honor it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a last thing, Alla, do you want to say anything to your Swedish audience?
From my heart, sincerely, Sweden means, I love Sweden. I spent the most, I visited it a few times, and it was actually my first capitalistic country. Me as a Soviet student visited many years ago. That's a country is very close to my heart, and I'm just incredibly grateful to you. I'm very happy that people will have a chance to read my book in their native language. And I just really, my biggest message is own your energy, and alchemy of everything else, and then just marvel and be amazed how life will answer back at you, what kind of, what you will attract as a result of that. So I'm just so excited for people just to be witnessing that alchemy, which comes from owning their energy. So so that's my message: own your energy.
That's a very nice message. Thank you.
Thank you so
From the bottom of my heart, I'm so happy that we could share this time.
Thank you.
So should we say bye-bye and let's meet again?
Absolutely.
So when I come to London next time, I have 2 brothers in London. So when I get there next time, I have to order the ticket 7 months in advance to get to you.
Right. Oh gosh. Exactly. So come and visit, and hopefully, God willing, I will visit one day in Sweden. Then I can bring my master classes and my workshops.
Yes.
I have a chance to really interact with people in person and teach. So that will be absolutely incredible. So
tomorrow is a new day, and all the possibilities and options are ahead of us.
Exactly.
Good. Thank you, Alla. Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.